I've been threatening to do this for a while, and I thought this might be a good enough time. And I think my voice is going to hold up. I had a little bout with a virus, and it didn't want any more of it. So I feel great. I think my voice will do all right for the show. But I'm going to show you some stuff tonight that I've been telling you about. Weird stuff, man. Prowlers outside my window on video. Oh, you're not going to believe it. I haven't shown ever have I shown this video of security video of the kind of stuff that I deal with. Also, I'm going to remind you about when the sheriff's office surrounded my home because they were pissed at me, and I filed a notice of intent to sue the sheriff's office. Sucks so bad. And if you're going to sue a government agency in Florida, you have to have a lawyer, or you do it pro se, and you have to file a notice of intent to sue. You got to give them 6 months notice before you can actually file the lawsuit. I'm almost 5 months into the notice of intent, and I'm going to just read you the reason I have to sue the sheriff's office, Sheriff Tommy Ford. And I'm going to remind you a little bit about, them prowling around the backyard as well. Also, we need to do a little quick update on Chief Ramie. I think we'll start off with the Prowler stuff first. What do you say? I'll cue that up and show it to you right after this.
Strong, effective leadership. 3 words that could mean the difference between prison and your freedom. I'm Al Saleen, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
All right, when I tell you, you're not going to believe this, you're not going to believe this. This happened a while ago, but I get this kind of stuff a lot. So this is not, this is a YouTube video. It's unlisted, so you can't search for it, you can't find it. But I stored it there. It's one of the places I stored this video. On March 25th of 2001, at about this time, about 8 o'clock at night, I was getting ready to do a show. And I have security cameras outside the office. And right as I'm about to start to do the show, the weirdest thing happened. I'm just going to show you. All right, I think I can narrate if I have to, but this happened. You're not going to believe this. You're going to go back and watch this again. I guarantee you. So remember that I'm inside that building, right? I'm inside there, and I can see this happening live. Here you go. This is what I see. What is he doing with his phone? I have my theories, but they're really just guesses. What's he doing? What app is he using? And why is he dressed like a lady? Yeah, exactly. So then I went back, and earlier he was doing this. He goes to get his phone. You wonder why I keep the door locked and all that jazz. Takes a look, finds the office, takes a look. Why didn't he have his phone anyway? I mean, I don't understand this. Where's he going to put it, Bernie? In his bra? That's where. Think about it. He had room. All right, hang tight. He's coming there. Look, with the furtive glances. Like the furtive glances. Now he's got his phone. Could you imagine if I had just walked out? Oh, here I am, actually. I'm trying to do a height comparison. So I'm 6'3". I'm trying to stand in about the same spot. So he's no 6'3", but whatever. I was trying to, basically the FBI didn't know who this was. And, okay. The FBI didn't know who this was. I want to show you another version of this. The FBI didn't know. The Sheriff Tommy Ford, no clue. His second in command absolutely did not know who it was, but was certain who it wasn't, which was kind of interesting. Anyway, no, is that weird? Is that weird? I got a bunch of those kind of things, but you want to take another look at this? You want to see this again? Like, maybe you know who this is. It's obviously a guy. I'm looking at your comments, by the way, if you have any comments. All right, let's look at this one more time. See if we can. Oh, man. Okay, here we go. I can pull it up like this. So take a look. We're going to zoom in and pause it when it's like not that angle, and you can't tell who it is there. But it's obviously a guy, right? So I sent it to another police, somebody I know in law enforcement, and nobody was particularly interested, which was the weird thing, right? Everybody said, look, see this? Everybody said, well, he looks drunk. This was a high-level law enforcement officer I know. I thought he was going to say, oh, we'll definitely ID this guy, Bernie. But instead it was, oh, wow, that's weird. He looks drunk. That's all. This is the sheriff's office is the substation is, I could throw a tennis ball and hit the substation right over here across the way. They had no clue. They couldn't figure out. Well, watch, look, let's see. Now, somebody I know told me who they thought it was, and they were pretty sure who they thought this was. This guy. But the sheriff's office was certain it wasn't that person. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Look. So whoever this guy is, whoever this man is, right? He wears sandals. I doubt he goes around in this outfit all the time, but you never know around here. So let's see if we can get a kind of a look at his face again. So you see, to me, he looks like he might be a contractor. At the time, I was sort of worried about contractors because they were all pissed at me at this time. So he's got these glasses. And I don't know. If you have any idea who that is, send me a message. This person. So, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably around my age. I'm 56. Anyway, I don't know why I'm spending so much time on that. I just wanted you to see I got more to show you. All right, so that's one Prowlers around out the window. But here's another one. This one's at my house. All right, and I think I narrate it, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, okay. So these Prowlers are actually Sheriff Tommy Ford's six deputies and a Panama City cop. Surround our home, search our backyard over what they claim over stolen AirPods. Stolen AirPods, they said. I was at the office. Miss Sarah Moon was home. You're going to see some knucklehead comes banging on the door. She doesn't answer. We don't know who it is. Well, we found out later who it is. But Sheriff Tommy Ford and Major Jimmy Stanford and Captain Jason Daffin, none of them ever told us who accused us of stealing their AirPods. And by the way, we were the third house they knocked on. But I was the only house that got surrounded. An illegal search. Sheriff Tommy Ford sent 2 deputies in our closed and gated backyard for 8 minutes. Peeping in the window of a teenage boy. That guy's now got promoted to the SWAT team. Alvin Eiler. Sheriff Tommy Ford and Major Stanford and Captain Daffin, they said they had exigent circumstance but the law, unfortunately, the Constitution, the law, case law, that is your backyard. If it's closed and gated like that, it's just like if they walked into your house. It's known as your curtilage. And Sheriff Tommy Ford said he had exigent circumstance. Major Jimmy Stanford said they were worried about officer safety. They thought that maybe I was going to run out the back door. Sheriff Tommy Ford said we had to make sure nobody escaped out the back door. That's what Sheriff Tommy Ford told me. Just months before, we've been working together for months. But I'll get into that with the with what I read you about the impending lawsuit against the sheriff's office. I liked it better when we were working together, except for they weren't being honest with me. All right, here we go. You want to see? This is what happened. You got to see this, and then my notice of intent for the lawsuit will make sense. Is this crazy? There's way more to this story, by the way. Way more to this particular story, by the way, that I haven't even told you. And I'm not going to tell you tonight, but it's crazy. All right, here we go. I'm going to let you hear this. On a Friday afternoon, August 19th, at about 4:45, 2 Bay County Sheriff deputies opened our gate and entered our backyard. One of them posted up outside the window of Sarah's 15-year-old son, who was inside playing a video game. He's on the SWAT team now. At the same time, deputies knocked on our front door and asked Sarah if a guy had come by earlier looking for AirPods. Sarah was working from home and saw the man as he approached. This, by the way, is August 19, 2022, okay? So this knucklehead with his hat on backwards and some lady in a car comes banging on our door at 12:47 p.m. on a Friday. I'm at the office. Sarah's at home. She was alarmed, and so she didn't answer the door. Instead, she kept an eye on him with our security cameras. I was at my office at the time. She sent me the videos, and I told her to keep the doors locked and let me know if he comes back. By the way, this guy's name is Zach. What's his last name, baby? Zach. I'll write it down. So this guy, his name is Zachary. I can't remember, but we'll get it here in a second. So some dude lives around here. Friendly with the cops, evidently. 4 hours later, things really got strange. 2 deputies entered our closed gate and snuck into our backyard. One of them tiptoed to her son's window and posted up while her son was in his room playing video games. This is Alvin Eiler. I asked the sheriff's office for his communication right here. They didn't give it to me. Look at this guy. He's on the SWAT team now. He got a promotion. Alvin Eiler. This dude, this guy here, this is Corporal Nicholas Macias. That's right. So the guy who banged on the door is Zachary Rourke is his name. Local guy. Some of you might know him. All right. That is Sergeant Nick Macias. Nicholas Macias. Walking in our closed and gated back door with no warrant, no nothing. Along with Alvin Eiler over there. just in case, as Major Stanford and all of those guys said, because we went to the sheriff's office 3 weeks later and asked them, what's going on, guys? You know me. Yeah, but Bernie, we treat everybody the same just because we know you, just because we've been working with you for a while. Doesn't mean that you might not escape out the back door and we may have to stop you. Swear to God, Sheriff Tommy Ford said exigent circumstances. I filed an internal investigation complaint, and Sheriff Tommy Ford said this was all justified. So that's why I have to sue. And so my notice of intent is about 5 months into it. It's a 6-month notice, so we're getting near, go time. Just got to test that whole theory about exigent circumstance over AirPods.
Meanwhile, law enforcement lined our street and 8 officers responded to this call about stolen AirPods.
Look at this. That is Sergeant Reinhardt, who I've learned a little bit about, don't like at all. And that back there is detective. That's investigator Chastain, Christy Chastain. Walking in our yard, that she is.
A deputy knocked on the front door and was joined by 2 others.
Look at all this. Sheriff Tommy Ford was really pissed at me.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, no.
This all happened, by the way, when I had to go report to you what was going on in the Margot Anderson case. Sheriff Ford and the public trust unit, they were exposed that they had set her up and lied about it, and I had to tell you. I had to tell you. And they got so mad that 4 months later, they did this to me. So remember, Sarah knows what kind of people prowl around me, okay? As I showed you earlier. So some guy comes banging on the door 4 hours earlier, and you get all these cops show up. She thought that they were there to say something happened to me. This is why she's so startled. She had no idea that they were going to try to arrest her over stolen AirPods, except they saw all the cameras.
Sheriff's office?
When Sarah answered, she feared the worst. She thought that they were there to deliver bad news. She asked them who died. She thought maybe the guy came to my office and killed me. They asked her to step outside and began asking about the stolen AirPods.
What's going on? Somebody show up here earlier asking to get an set of AirPods?
Oh, no, God, hear me. Okay, something's hurt.
Look at their body language.
Somebody banging on my...
Look at their body language. Right when Reinhardt knocked, the guy in the white shirt is Nelson. That's investigator Ryan Nelson, Detective Ryan Nelson. You won't believe what he did when he left here. That's for another day. I mean, like when he ran out of the yard. Craziest story I ever heard in my life. Craziest thing I ever heard in my life is what they do. So he was cracking his knuckles. If you want to see again, look at their body language. You telling me that? Watch the guy in the white. That's Ryan Nelson. Watch his body language. Look at these guys. Look at it, popping their knuckles. Make sure nobody runs out the back door. Make sure Bernie doesn't. Here they are.
Hey, how you doing?
Look at these guys.
Oh, not much. Steve Reinhardt with Sheriff's office.
When Sarah answered, she feared the worst. She thought that they were there to deliver bad news. She asked them who died. She thought maybe the guy came to my office and killed me. They asked her to step outside and began asking about the stolen AirPods.
What's going on? Somebody show up here earlier asking to get an set of AirPods?
Oh, no, God, hear me. Okay, something's hurt. No, but I have video of somebody banging on my door. Like, y'all have video of it right here and right here.
Yep.
Y'all made me think somebody died for real.
Kicking the mom out. Okay.
This side, homie.
The other 2 deputies were in our backyard for about 8 minutes.
Watch Sergeant Ryan. Watch Alvin Eiler. He's a SWAT member now. Watch Investigator Eiler, how he runs. This is great. This is my favorite part. So Alvin Eiler on the SWAT team now, Sheriff Ford SWAT team. He was over there right outside the bedroom window of her 15-year-old son at the time. And he's in there playing video games late on a Friday afternoon after school. And he's out there listening. You should hear these kids when they play video games. But watch Alvin Eiler run out. This is my favorite part. Finally, they rented the house across the street. While all this was happening, someone named Jason Brown was posting on the neighborhood app that a vehicle on his block had been burglarized the night before. He said that the sheriff had just left and that they were on the hunt for the stolen AirPods. And he said they were looking into a neighborhood. Turns out it was our neighborhood. How do you like it? Was our home. This is in real time. This is happening. Somehow Jason Brown was talking to the sheriff's office. He said someone was in custody already. Jason Brown posted that he had an event for Relief Skate Supply. He said it went well. The next day, Sheriff Tommy Ford also posted about Jason Brown's event. Wow. 2 days later, another man came knocking on our door. Now, this is crazy as hell, okay? So that was on a Friday afternoon. 2 days later, Sunday, this knucklehead, who we have found out who he is, Bo McGregor, local guy, Bo McGregor, in his mid to late 20s, the long ass criminal history of violent assault and battery. Okay, this dude right here, Bo McGregor. You wouldn't believe all the public records I have. You wouldn't believe. Well, you will eventually. Badge cam video, everything. You won't believe what they're up to. So 2 days later, another guy, same demographic, comes banging on the door. Sunday, same story, says that his missing AirPods are pinging from our home. Same story. Watch this. The first guy claimed that his AirPods were pinging from inside our home. This guy appears to be doing the same thing. He's clearly agitated, and he even looks inside our window. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. Again, I was at my office when this happened, and Sarah sent me the video. I'll tell you this. I mean, the entire thing is the same. There's a woman in the car yelling out the window, just like the first dude. It's I mean, I guess these are real people, but I know for sure that Bo McGregor did not, his AirPods were not pinging from my home. I know for sure. How? I have the badge cam video of him talking to a cop about it. Okay. This is, you're not going to believe what Sheriff Ford and his guys did. Planting evidence in backpacks. You're not going to believe it. But this dude, he knows that I didn't steal his damn AirPods. In the same routine, though. Young guy looking at his thing, real aggressive. They got to be in here. The AirPods got to be in here. I don't even think it's within the sheriff's office policy. I don't think. Hey guys, if some dudes like this, criminal histories, like little CIs, off the record CI type dudes, I don't know who the hell these guys are. That's the feeling I get, right? We're gonna find out, but that's the feeling I get. With you ladies yelling out the same damn routine, and the sheriff's office take these guys really. Hey Bernie, these guys, they say you stole AirPods. Sheriff, what are you, dude? We were working together to clean up public corruption. What happened here? Well, you really pissed us off. Oh, They didn't tell me that I pissed them off, but they didn't like me telling you what I saw in court. So this happens. Video. Now we were really concerned. So I called the sheriff's office and asked to send a deputy so she could file a report. Deputies showed up soon afterward, and they took a report. Yeah, so this was before, so by the time we went to, because Sarah and I went and visited Sheriff Ford, and Sheriff Ford brought in the head of his public trust unit, Jimmy Stanford, and Captain Jason Daffin, so we could find out how they effing do things at the sheriff's office around here, I guess. But anyway, there's a story behind that too. So these are the reasons that a cop that police could jump and go in your closed and gated backyard. Okay, they have a search warrant. They have an arrest warrant. There's hot pursuit, fresh pursuit. They're chasing somebody. They see the guy jump over your fence, and they can. Okay, exigent circumstance. Exigent circumstance would be like, for example, if an officer comes and knocks on your door and he hears inside the house someone's fighting and screaming, and maybe there's a gunshot, or someone has a heart attack and you got to run in and help with something like, right? Or you're flushing drugs down the toilet, right? Exigent circumstance. I mean, you got to act now. No time for a search warrant. That's the one Sheriff Tommy Ford picked. But he did not write that on the internal investigation report, where he said the officers did a great job. They were all exonerated. Great police work. But he did not ever write it down. He just told us that. What are they gonna say in the lawsuit? I mean, what are they gonna say? Pick one. You didn't have our permission. We didn't even know Alvin Eiler and Nick Macias were back there. And by the way, I'll tell you something else. You want to hear something else? I'll tell you as soon as we let this roll the last few seconds here. So that guy, hold on, this guy right here. This is crazy. That guy right there. That's Corporal Nick Macias. So this was August of 2022. 7 months earlier, he did an unlawful search on me. He did a database search. Like, let's say you get pulled over because you're doing reckless driving. They run your information on the law enforcement database. They have to have a lawful reason to do that. You have your social security number, all your information. This guy, 7 months before he's in my backyard, this guy, he ran information on me without any lawful reason. We never made contact that day. I've done a public record request. There was no investigation on me. He just, this dude here in my backyard, unlawfully ran all three. It's called your David search, your NCIS, your FCIC, or NCIC, FCIC. This dude this guy's always searching me. Now he's searching the backyard for 8 minutes. Anyway, there's that. So now I'll read to you our notice of intent, which has about another 45 days before we actually file a lawsuit against the sheriff's office. This is so bad. All right, let me cue that up, and I'll read to you the letter that we sent them right after this.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777.
And by the way, the highest ranking investigator that we saw on the public records concerning that was Jeremy Mathis, who works right underneath Jimmy Stanford, Major Jimmy Stanford, head of the public trust unit. who was so furious with me for reporting what I saw at the courthouse. All right, here we go. This is the notice of intent. So give you an idea of what the lawsuit's about. So according to the law, according to Chapter 768 Florida statutes, remember, if you sue a government agency, you have to give 6 months notice. Any government agency. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger for you. Okay. The reasons that we have to do this are they violated the Fourth Amendment's right to be secure in their persons. This is from our lawyer, Marie Maddox. Houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches. First Amendment retaliation against the freedom of speech or of the press, and to petition the government for redress of grievances, abuse of process, malicious investigation, and any other civil claim available to Ms. Moon and Mr. Thompson. The facts composing the potential cause of action include but are not limited to the following. Mr. Thompson and Ms. Moon have been the victims of an organized and targeted scheme whereby deputies and officials within the Bay County Sheriff's Office acted in concert among each other and other law enforcement agencies to violate the rights of Mr. Thompson and Ms. Moon as guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution, federal law, and state statutes. Their home was surrounded by 7 Bay County Sheriff's officers and a lieutenant with the Panama City Police Department on August 19, 2022, at or around 4:40 p.m. Investigator Alvin Eiler and Corporal Nicholas Macias unlawfully entered and searched their closed and gated backyard and remained for approximately 8 minutes, while several other officers, led by Sergeant Stephen Reinhardt, questioned Ms. Moon on her front porch about a set of missing AirPods. Mr. Thompson has been a well-known media personality in Bay County since 2007, when he began the Bernie Thompson Show on Talk Radio 101. Since 2015, Mr. Thompson has focused on independent watchdog journalism, and his excellent work, the lawyer wrote this, thank you, Marie, includes coverage and commentary on local government issues. Mr. Thompson has been issued a Bay County Sheriff's Office press pass from 2007 until Sheriff Ford discontinued issuing press passes to the public in 2021. It is well known that Ms. Moon's excellent research, she's the brains behind the outfit, some of you know that for sure, into local issues contributes to the success of the Bernie Thompson Show. Neither Ms. Moon nor Mr. Thompson had a personal relationship with Sheriff Ford since Ford took office in 2016, but they had a close personal relationship with Sheriff Ford's chief deputy, Joel Heap, from 2017. This is so bad. This is heartbreaking, man. Until May 4th, 2022. I didn't read this in advance. Since we sent it in, I forgot about this stuff. They communicated regularly with Chief Heap about rooting out public corruption. Boy, did we. You wouldn't believe all the stuff we gave the sheriff's office. Stuff they told us. In Bay County before and during a Bay County Sheriff's Office high-profile joint investigation with the FBI that began in or around April 2019. Boy, that's an interesting time. Federal subpoenas were issued in 2020 to the Bay County School District and to the city of Panama City Beach. Televised press conferences were held while federal indictments and arrests of public officials by the FBI, as well as the Bay County Sheriff's Office, were announced. In 2020 and 2021, Chief Heap and Major Jimmy Stanford would take Mr. Thompson and Ms. Moon to lunch or meet at Mr. Thompson's office to discuss and exchange information that could be helpful to the Bay County Sheriff's ongoing investigation into public corruption. Let's just say they know some stuff. That all changed on the morning of May 4, 2022, when Chief Heap and Major Stanford paid a visit to Mr. Thompson's office for nearly 2 hours and expressed their frustration and discontent with his coverage of the Lynn Haven corruption case involving former Mayor Margo Anderson and developer James Finch. The prosecution against them was falling apart, and evidence was being revealed that cast the Bay County Sheriff's Office in a negative light. Major Stanford testified during the hearing that years earlier he had accepted gifts from GAC President Derwin White, the main target of their wider investigation into public corruption, before White's unexpected death on July 31st, 2021. Mr. Thompson had reported accurately to the public, knowing it would upset his friends at the Bay County Sheriff's Office. Chief Heap and Major Stanford severed their relationship with Mr. Thompson because they were upset with his coverage of the Lynn Haven corruption case. They communicated with Mr. Thompson only a few times afterward, and only to express their displeasure. About 3 months later, 7 of their subordinate Bay County sheriff's officers surrounded his home and humiliated Ms. Moon in front of her neighbors while unlawfully searching their backyard and posting up right outside her teenage son's window while he was playing video games inside. Later that night, Ms. Moon and Mr. Thompson reviewed their home security video and saw the extent to which their Fourth Amendment rights had been violated. They became increasingly upset about the unlawful entry and search of their backyard, and they worried that plainclothes Bay County Sheriff's investigators might return. I'll save you other stories. I'm just going to get through this. They were anxious enough that they requested to meet with Sheriff Ford about 3 weeks later to express their concerns and to find out why the Bay County Sheriff's Office targeted their home with a massive law enforcement presence. I'm going to tell you something. So 3 weeks after that happened, understand the great relationship we had with them. I mean, you think you did, right? So we went there and sort of thought he was going to apologize. The wrong house. I thought maybe they had a good reason. And quite frankly, an apology would have gone a long way with me. But instead, Sheriff Ford and his crack investigators told me and Sarah Moon that they had exigent circumstance. Not only did they have probable cause that we had stolen AirPods in the home, but they thought that we also had stolen a Glock and that we might escape out the back door. And that's why they had to do that. And they didn't back down from that, even after I filed an internal investigation report. All right. Yeah, that was crazy. An apology, even if they had just fooled me, that really would have gone a long way. But I just stewed on this. It's just, what? All right. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I told you about the visit. When Mr. Thompson and Ms. Moon met Sheriff Ford at the sheriff's office on September 9, 2022, they were joined by Major Stanford and Captain Jason Daffin in the conference room for about an hour. Sheriff Ford and his top 2 investigators explained that the Bay County Sheriff's Office didn't need a warrant to enter the closed and gated backyard, citing exigent circumstance. Sheriff Ford and his investigators said that they had probable cause to believe that a stolen Glock 19 was in the home, along with stolen AirPods. And they were concerned about officer safety and a possible suspect escaping out the back door. Can you imagine me being told this? Oh my gosh. Excuse me. All right. Again, I feel better than I sound, but following the September 9 meeting at the sheriff's office, Ms. Moon and Mr. Thompson reviewed public records pursuant to the incident. Later on, January 17, Thompson filed an internal affairs complaint. On March 20 of 2023, Sheriff Ford concluded that Mr. Thompson's complaint was not sustained and indicated that the case was closed as exonerated. Good police work, guys. Based on information and belief, the Bay County Sheriff's Office surrounded the home of Ms. Moon and Mr. Thompson, unlawfully entered their backyard in retaliation for Mr. Thompson's honest reporting of the Lynn Haven corruption case that upset Major Stanford, Chief Heap, and Sheriff Ford. It was an attempt to intimidate Mr. Thompson from exercising his freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. In so doing, the Bay County Sheriff's Office committed abusive process, engaged in malicious investigation, and violated the Fourth Amendment rights of Mr. Thompson and Ms. Moon with an unlawful search of their home. The U.S. Constitution and case law are clear. Can't believe Sheriff Ford. They left our house and immediately did the same thing in other houses before carjacking somebody, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So the U.S. Supreme Court in Oliver v. United States, 1984, decided that the heightened Fourth Amendment protection extends to the curtilage of a home, the curtilage. Curtilage is defined by the U.S. Supreme Court in the United States v. Dunn. The definition of curtilage includes a residential closed and gated backyard in which the owner takes steps to protect that area from observation. Your curtilage is like your personal space of your home, outside your home, your yard, especially though, if you have a closed and gated backyard that you live in, you know, it's not like it's way out in a field. It's like where your barbecue is. It's like, you know, where you are a lot. It's your living space. That's the curtilage of your home. All right. And that has every protection that if they had walked inside of our house doing that, it's exactly the same thing under the law. All right. So, furthermore, the reasonable expectation of privacy not only applies to the inside of a person's home, but to the curtilage of the home as well. By the way, if the sheriff's office or any police, local police agency has done this to you and told you that they had exigent circumstance, they are either ignorant or they're lying to you. And I don't know which it is with Sheriff Ford, but it's one of them. Yeah. So, okay, the reasonable expectation of privacy not only applies to the inside of a person's home, but to the curtilage of the home as well. California Z. Serrallo, quote, the protection afforded the curtilage is essentially a protection of families and personal privacy in an area intimately linked to the home, both physically and psychologically, where privacy expectations are most heightened. Now, I don't know for sure. I really don't know why they did this. I suspect, well, it was not in good faith, all right? But I don't know how far they wanted to take it. Were they going to arrest Sarah Moon? Because they don't give a damn. We know this. They don't give a damn if they make a bad arrest. They ask James Finch's wife. They just want a mugshot. They just want all the bad stuff. And then then their buddy Larry Bassford at the prosecutor's office, then they just drop it months later after they've ruined your life. I don't know. Did they? What if? And listen, I'm going to say this. Do not make comments here about you defending your home against and do this, that, and the other. Do not say that on this page, please. I don't want to hear any of that here. It's not helpful. It will only hurt my efforts to tell you what's going on. And these knuckleheads will certainly twist it and act like they feel threatened, you know. But we feel threatened, right? So one of these dudes in my backyard was not wearing the uniform. I would have been shocked enough to see a sheriff's deputy in uniform in my backyard, but at least I would have known it's a sheriff's deputy. But a guy running around in a pink shirt and a bald head and running like a sissy through the backyard, you know, I mean, I've learned a lot, so I'm not going to confront anybody in the backyard, and you shouldn't either. Unless you have to, right? But don't just go out there, you know. Well, I have every right to. Look, what you have the right to do and the right thing to do and the smart thing to do are often different. So be smart and don't say stupid stuff here, please. But damn, that could have gone bad because before I learned a few things, I might have walked out there. Hey, man, what are you doing in the backyard with a gun in my hand? How bad could that have gone? That's why, Sheriff Ford, you don't do that. The cop behind would say, there's a gun, boom, boom, boom. This is terrible. This could have gone so bad over stolen AirPods, huh? You know damn well we didn't steal a gun. You know damn well we didn't steal AirPods. So what was this really going? What was have a bunch of cameras and know how to use them. That's all I'm saying. All right, enough of that. All right, but that could have gone really, really, really bad. And they do it all the time. How do I know? I've got badge cam of them doing it. I cannot believe what they do. And Sheriff Ford says it's great. All right. So it should be emphasized that in order to enter the backyard, the Bay County Sheriff's Office took the unreasonable and unlawful step to open a closed gate to a tall wooden fence surrounding and concealing their residential backyard from common view. In Coffin v. Brandow, the 11th Circuit held, that's the governing law here, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, in the federal court. This is a federal lawsuit. This will be a federal lawsuit because it's violation of constitutional rights. They had a federal court has held, so the 11th Circuit, that the plaintiffs had an expectation of privacy in the attached garage that had one wall common to their house and a door that was capable of fully closing. Though it was open and the police initially arrived. In the case involving Mr. Thompson and Ms. Moon, the gate of the backyard was closed and latched when the Bay County Sheriff's Office arrived. Finally, the Florida Supreme Court in Florida v. Jardines held that a search undoubtedly occurs when government intrudes without a warrant into the curtilage of a house. The Bay County Sheriff's Office had no warrant, no exigent circumstance, and neither Ms. Moon nor Mr. Thompson ever explicitly or implicitly invited law enforcement to enter their closed and gated backyard or any other part of their curtilage. The above details are only a part of the far-reaching web of conspiracy and corruption to intimidate Mr. Thompson and Ms. Moon by violating the Fourth Amendment rights in retaliation for exercising their First Amendment freedom of speech and freedom of the press, which Sheriff Ford and his top brass found objectionable. The Panama City Police Department were also complicit, as Lieutenant Rich Thor was present with the Bay County Sheriff's Office when Ms. Moon was questioned on her front porch. Earlier that year, on January 7, the same uniformed officer who unlawfully entered the backyard, Corporal Macias, had searched Mr. Thompson through the law enforcement database FCIC and NCIC without a lawful purpose. Also David, by the way. The Bay County Sheriff's Office has used law enforcement database to search Mr. Thompson on numerous occasions, by the way. Shit ton of times. Over the past 4 years without a lawful purpose. So has the Panama City Beach Police Department. Later that year in December, and Panama City as well. It says Panama City Beach, but Panama City is what we're talking about here. Later that year, December of 2022, Lynn Haven City, as though it couldn't get any worse. I mean, it could always get worse. What am I talking about? So just a few months after that, Lynn Haven City Manager Vicki Gaynor, whose federal testimony was a subject of Mr. Thompson's reporting, she told the FBI that she heard Mr. Thompson was being paid by criminal defendant James Finch ostensibly to influence his coverage of the Lynn Haven corruption case. Her statement found its way onto an FBI 302 investigation memo. Her statement was false and Mr. Thompson's coverage was accurate. Later, Finch was found not guilty. The actions of the Bay County Sheriff's Office and its co-conspirators have caused damage to Mr. Thompson. Okay, this is it. Okay. And it says our age, it says that we live here and all that jazz. But yeah, so this is going to be a thing soon because our 6 months notice of intent has is almost over, right? It's 4.5 months into it. So that's when the real stuff starts, the lawsuit. So I just wanted to show you the weird stuff that I deal with. And I'm not complaining. Look, I get it. It happens. I mean, it shouldn't happen, but it does. And I guess the point is we need to try to stop it because we should not live in fear of the sheriff's office. We shouldn't live in fear of the prosecutor's office because they don't like what we're saying. They loved what I was saying. They absolutely loved for 15 years. But this time, boy, it was unacceptable. So, okay, I told you I was going to fill you in on the latest with Chief Ramie, so let's do that. All right, so first of all, you probably know this is crazy as hell. But Chief Ricky Ramie, you remember, I don't want to go through the hit and run police chief in Lynn Haven. So the police chief in Lynn Haven, this is so crazy, on December 31st of last year, left Miss Newbies at 3:30 in the morning, got in his big dually pickup truck in the parking lot as he was leaving the bar, and with his big giant pickup truck, crashed into a parked car that was properly parked, causing tons of damage to the car. Their buddies in the news call it a fender bender. It was way more than a fender bender. It caused like $3,500 of damage. It's unbelievable. And then he didn't tell anybody. Got in his car and drove away. Chief Ramie. It's a criminal hit and run with damage to property. But they're trying to get out of it, and so on and so forth. But it's becoming an issue because everybody knows it's bullshit. Okay, everybody knows. So here's the latest, and this is let's go to WMBB, because when they cover it, when WMBB covers it, it looks to me like they look, the sheriff's office in WMBB, the police in WMBB, it's a family affair. Let's just put it that way. So when they report like this, yeah, something's going on. Watch.
Administrators have taken action against Police Chief Ramie.
Remy is now on administrative duties only, due in part to his hit and run incident late last year. As News 13's Courtney Evans tells us, the status change is occurring because his legal case is dragging on.
Ricky Ramie will remain the Lynn Haven police chief for now, but Friday morning, city manager Vicki Gaynor announced she decided to place Ramie on administrative duty only. It's part of the continued fallout from Ramie's December hit.
I want you to listen closely to this, WMBB. You have a police chief who has a felony hit and run. I'm sorry, I don't want to say felony hit, criminal hit and run. He actually was arrested over this. FHP. It was an administrative arrest, but it was an arrest. Okay, that's why. I mean, he's got a lawyer. He's got Waylon Graham, a defense attorney, and they have requested a jury trial. All right, somebody chased him down. That's how they caught him. Otherwise, he was just gone. And look, man, that's not his only time that week doing this, from what I am hearing, but I haven't been able to confirm. But I have heard it enough that if I do, I'm going to tell you about it. Right now, let me tell you something. Right now, there are people going, which of the other ones does Bernie know about? This is a problem. And they think they're going to keep it. I mean, Vicki Gaynor, and they have to cover for each other for what they've done over the years. The secrets they have on each other. Shit they've done. Oh, my God. So they've got a police chief. It's the craziest story. Who did that? They've been trying to cover it up. I released the video because I got the surveillance video. And I released it. And then all hell broke loose. Okay? You remember that? And they had to admit it. And they've been trying to cover it up by sending it over to a friendly prosecutor in Pensacola. And now there's so much heat on this that it's probably not going to work. They're probably not going to just sweep it under the rug. And so, and so they're going to get real tough on the chief of police. Right? So crazy Vicki Gaynor, the queen of lies. Oh my God, this is so crazy. They decide, okay, we're going to have to take some action. So they told their police chief, you got to turn in your badge and turn in your gun, but you're still the chief of police. You're just going to be doing administrative duties, but you are no longer a sworn officer. You don't have your badge. You don't have your gun. What? And listen to the news. They'll call it a hit and run fender bender. That's what they call. You talk about trying to soften you talk about a euphemism, a hit and run fender bender. Listen to this. He had the police chief of Lynn Haven. What other city has a police chief that had to turn in his gun and his badge? I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that. I mean, maybe he could have just kept one bullet, just in case. Or maybe he gets to keep the gun and she keeps the bullets. I mean, it seems like there's some stuff they could have done before they just go take his gun and take his badge. That's embarrassing. Watch, listen to WMBB call it A hit and run fender bender. What?
Appointed, and the Highway Patrol is conducting the criminal investigation. As a result of his new status, Ramie is not allowed to perform any law enforcement duties. He's turned in his badge, his gun, and his city-owned patrol car. But Gator insists Ramie still has
Wait,
plenty
hold
to
on.
do.
I think I forwarded it too far. I'm sorry. Here we go. So,
Manager Vicky Gaynor
well,
The status changes are
so I'll let it run through. I'm sorry. Vicky Gaynor is going to tell me if it looks like she's ever telling the truth.
occurring because his legal case is dragging on.
Ricky Ramie will remain the Lynn Haven Police Chief for now, but Friday morning, City Manager Vicky Gaynor announced she decided to place Ramie on administrative duty only. It's part of the continued fallout from Ramie's December hit-and-run fender bender in the parking lot of Miss Newbie's Lounge.
3 weeks ago, we said, after we met with our attorney and he met with not only the residents, but the commissioners, he's clear.
She's the one who told the FBI that I was on James Finch's payroll while he was a defendant. The only reason Bernie says what he says is because, first of all, that was a lie. Second of all, it would not have even been illegal, but it certainly was not the case. Absolutely not the case. If you find one person who's ever given me money to say anything. Now, you can donate. You can donate. And I'm very grateful. But everybody knows that I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to tell me what to say. I left a radio career over that. You're not, it ain't going to happen. I'm going to tell you what I believe. Let the damn the torpedoes. Now, if you like the work I do and you want to become a patron or any of that, a sponsor, God bless you. But you ask around, doesn't mean I'm going to say what you want me to say. Oh, man. So I had to do an investigation on myself and report, because I never heard from the FBI. The FBI never said, Vicky, who told you that? But I damn sure ended up in an FBI report because of Vicky Gaynor lying to the FBI. She lied to the FBI about me, and the FBI liked it. But when Margot Anderson says I met somebody in October or December, it was really October, they put her in prison for a month over that. Vicky Gaynor's got like a half a dozen doozies, and they love it. Why is that?
Clearly stated, if something changes, the city manager will go back and reevaluate it. That is exactly what I did. And I think that it was time to make sure that we stuck to our word and we move this forward as this case moves forward.
The thing that changed is Ramie's court date. It's been pushed back to June 6th. Because of Ramie's daily dealings with the 14th Judicial Circuit State Attorney, Larry Bassford asked the governor to appoint someone else to the case. First Circuit State Attorney Ginger Bowden-Madden was appointed, and the Highway Patrol is conducting the criminal.
You want to know another crazy thing about that? So your state attorney is the top prosecutor, all right? Our state attorney, Larry Bassford, is in the 14th Judicial Circuit. That comprises 6 counties, okay? 6 counties are in the 14th Judicial Circuit. Now, just west of us is another judicial circuit, and the lead prosecutor over there is Ginger Bowden-Madden, Bobby Bowden's daughter, by the way. And here's a fun tidbit. You ready for this? She's our lead prosecutor's ex-girlfriend. Let's give it to Ginger. She'll take care of it.
Criminal investigation. As a result of his new status, Ramie is not allowed to perform any law enforcement duties. He's turned in his badge, his gun, and his city-owned patrol car. But Gator insists Ramie still has plenty to do.
We know that the
For 140
police
grand a
department
year.
surely needs to continue to move forward. And
move forward.
I think it's important that he's still available to the administrative staff. That's
okay. So, yeah, so he turned in his badge and his gun, and he needs to be available for the administrative staff for 140 grand a year. Way to go, Vicky. That's Vicky Gaynor.
It's in place.
In the meantime, recently appointed Assistant Police Chief Steve Enfinger will take over a lot of the duties Ramie can no longer perform.
He's always been over patrol. He handles a lot of the personnel issues. So it's a natural for him to be able to handle himself as the assistant chief and continue to direct the day-to-day activities for the Police Department.
Gaynor says the arrangement will remain in place until there is a change or development in Ramey's case. In Lynn Haven, Courtney Evans, News.
Crazy as hell. Is that crazy as hell? So the Judge Shane Van, the latest news on this, well, let me show you. The latest news on this is the Judge Shane Van. Well, he's evidently been friends with Chief Ramie for 30 years, right? So, so he waited for, Chief Ramie's criminal defense attorney, Waylon Graham, to file. Let me just read this to you. There's a new judge appointed to hear the case of Lynn Haven Police Chief Ramie. The chief judge, top judge for the 14th Circuit, Christopher Patterson, assigned Judge Wade Mercer out of Mariana. So now we got it completely out of ours, but conflict of interest. Let's just have a judge from another circuit finish this, preside over this controversial case. And that's the right thing to do, Judge Patterson. Last week, Ramey's attorney, Waylon Graham, asked Judge Shane Van to recuse himself from the case. Ramie and Van have been close friends for more than 30 years. Judge Van granted the motion yesterday, which was, April 30th, clearing the way for Judge Mercer to get the case. Ramie is charged with, look at what they write here. Look at this. I'm going to try to make this big so you can see it. Look in the blue here. Look what they say he's charged with. Gosh, can you see this right here? With leaving the scene of a fender bender. Hey, WMBB, that's not what he's charged with. How do you, if you're a news outlet, and they're just pure propaganda, but, they're supposed to be a news outlet. How do you just absolutely embarrass yourself like this? Because for news, it's also public trust. Like, you believe me. I know you believe me. Say Bernie might get it wrong, but he's not lying to us. He's telling us what he sees. And he's telling us what he analyzes and what he believes. If he gets it wrong, he'll say he's wrong. But I'm not lying to you. This was not leaving the scene of a fender bender. This was leaving the scene of an accident with more than $50 of damage. That's the actual citation. But the real damage to the poor dude's vehicle that everybody forgets about, JJ, John Shea, Workman, I believe, but he goes by JJ. Dude had his car destroyed. He had a cool old Mercury, just $3,500 of Ricky Ramey's big old dually pickup truck with more damage to it. Nobody gives a damn about the victim, the real victim, JJ. Nobody cares. Leaving the scene of a fender bender. WMBB, this is journalistic malpractice. This is why nobody believes you. This is why you have to rely on local government because you're on the take. And the damage this does to our society, to this country, to good people is like, how do you look yourselves in the mirror? He's charged with leaving the scene of a fender bender. I mean, wow. All right. In the Mistu Newbies parking lot, the crash caused around $3,000 to the victim's vehicle, but nobody gives a damn about the victim. They act like Ramey's the victim. I don't want to hear any more about lifting black voices, about caring about minorities. JJ, by the way, a black American, parked his car, his Mercury, properly, was enjoying his evening, and the police chief off duty crashed his damn car, caused all this damage, tried to take off. Another guy chased down the police chief as he was trying to leave, and nobody gives a damn about JJ's car. Nobody. Not even my Democrat friends. Nobody gives a damn. But the next opportunity to post a black box as your Facebook profile pic to show your solidarity, lift black voices. How about actually helping people, standing up for victims? Oh my, I can't do it. I'm so glad this is almost over. Oh boy, right before the coughing fit comes. Okay, earlier this month, Vicky Gaynor placed Remy on administrative duties only. And the police chief of Lynn Haven, the only city in Florida, 412 cities, I'll bet you I'll bet you lunch that there's not one other police chief out of 412 cities in Florida where the police chief had to turn in his gun and his badge. I bet you Lynn Haven's that special. They've got a doctor of leadership as the mayor. If you don't know the story, I'm not going to explain the joke. It's not a joke, actually. It's a crazy-ass story. The case will be heard in Bay County, but first, just look at this. Because nobody can do the right thing yet. Our prosecutor's ex-girlfriend out of Pensacola, she's prosecuting it. Because nobody can just do the right thing and say, hey, a police chief that commits a hit and run that's arrested for it ought to be treated just like the rest of us. That is one of the main reasons I do what I do. I want equal application of the law. I want it applied equally to everybody. I don't want Democrats treated worse. I don't want Republicans treated worse. I don't want insiders treated better. I don't want the rest of us treated worse. I want everybody treated the same. And then guess what? Then I would stop talking about you. And then I would do a show and just interview like Grand Funk Railroad again. I mean, that's what I would do. God. All right, I'm going to get out of here. What time is it anyway? Woo, I'm a little off my game. I've been doing this for a while. People said, Bernie, you all right? Where have you been? I've just been trying to hang on, to be honest with you. All right. Thank you so much to the Unknown Patriot for your support of the show by being a sponsor. See, I don't want to be a real sponsor. I know I don't need the retaliation. I don't need people in the backyard. Well, you can be an Unknown Patriot too. So thank you to the Unknown Patriot. Also, thank you so much for the rest of you who are patrons who throw a tip in the tip jar at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. $5 a month is, and it is easy. It's anonymous and you can quit at any time. Whew, okay. Crazy, isn't it? Hey, if you missed it though, go back and watch the very beginning. Watch the beginning of this show and the prowler outside of my office. A man dressed up as a woman on my security video. You're not going to believe it. Hey, I saw somebody was saying, how do I do a one-time donation? Well, here's one way. When I hit this little outro, it'll say on there how you can do that if you want to do that. You don't have to. This is a free meal. But those of you who do, I'm most grateful.